broadcaster throughout the world from Canada. This is the Collector Car Drive-Thru Podcast, presented by Cars by Taylor. Here are your hosts, Nicole Taylor and Paul Taylor Sr.
Hello and welcome to the Collector Car Drive-Thru Podcast. Today we have Renée Edwards-Ambrose, very exciting guest. Can you tell us a little bit about her, hon?
She is one of the most inspirational females in the automotive industry. She is a drag race star. She also is an aircraft maintenance engineer. This is somebody who just goes above and beyond to inspire females into the automotive industry. So I'm looking forward to interviewing her.
I'm excited
and
too.
I hope that you all enjoy the interview with her.
Well, it is our honor today to introduce Renée Edwards-Ambrose, and she's coming to us from the island of Antigua. Have I got that right? Our viewers,
yes, you know,
I've only learned to pronounce this today. We were going to keep this a very honest show, so I've just learned how to pronounce this. It's not Antigua, it's Antigua.
Yes. I mean, we accept them both, but to be correct verbally and audibly, Antigua is the proper pronunciation. So you guys got it right.
Well, welcome to our show. We're so honored to have you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
It's so nice to see you again. I mean, it's been, I think we calculated yesterday, it's been about 4 years.
Just about.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, you're right. Going on 5. So,
yes.
I said to Paul right away, I said, this has to be somebody that we invite on in the beginning of the phases of the podcast, because when I first met you, I'll never forget opening the door at, I believe it was 9 o'clock at night, and not even knowing that you were arriving to Canada. And I just fell in love with you, and I fell in love with your spirit, and you're very inspirational. So right away, I thought, you know what, this is a woman that I believe in. This is a woman that I've supported and followed over the years myself. And how
and your
inspirational.
Name comes up a lot.
It really does. And in Canada, when I first met you, I thought, I wonder if, many people in Canada know of Renée and believe you or not. I mean, you're very, very well known. You're a very, very well known woman in the industry.
Thank you.
So I wanted to, ask them questions just because I find that the viewers, in the automotive industry, we tend to get asked the same repetitive questions over and over. And I thought, you know what, Renée deserves a little bit more. We need to really dive in and help inspire some of the youth that are coming, into the new industry. It is definitely something that it's important. The times are changing, and between myself entering the automotive industry and yourself, I thought, you know what, we need to follow up with some questions. So I think one of the first questions that I had was, what helped direct you as a teen into this automotive industry and to avionic maintenance engineer?
Oh, to be quite honest, I grew up around a lot of guys, and in our society, drag racing was the best thing since sliced bread. Like, anytime you hear about cars, it's drag racing. And I live in a certain part of the island where, like, some of the faster cars would pass my house to get to their home. So I could stay in my house and I could tell you whose car is passing, what type of engine they have in, that stuff. And that was while I was in high school. So straight out of high school, I told my mom, listen, I want to be an aircraft engineer. I want to be a pilot. I want to be a drag racer. I want to be a mechanic. And I didn't think that it would have happened. But now at the age of 36, I can proudly say that I've done all of that. Like, I've done everything on that list. So basically, straight out of high school, I went on to study automotive engineering here at the Antigua State College. And there, it then piqued my interest to even get into motorsports. So the universe just kind of, fit everything together. Right, exactly. So, and I told mom, look, I don't ever see myself sitting down in an office pushing papers. I rather push tires around or, push engines around and, get my nails a little bit dirty, and that's the type of lifestyle that I always wanted to live, because I like fixing things, so that kind of inspired me and kind of propelled me into every facet of career path that I've chosen so far. And it's been an amazing journey. I mean, I met you guys throughout that journey, so it's been a blessing for sure.
So automotive did come before aviation then?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Very interesting. So where was the transfer between automotive and becoming an AME? For those that don't know, aircraft maintenance engineer. And I do believe you were on the mechanical side or the avionics side?
On both, actually.
Okay.
So yes. So straight out of engineering school here, the next step would have been piloting. So I actually did 9 months of pilot training in Oshawa in Canada, straight out of engineering. And then when I got back, I couldn't get a job flying here because the industry was like totally saturated. So after that, I actually got a scholarship to travel to Guyana for 4 years to study aircraft engineering and maintenance. So while there, I studied both piston engines, turbine engines, and of course, electrical. And I came back with my engineer's license and started working at an airline in Antigua and Barbuda, where I specialized in mechanical first, and then I went on to becoming an avionics engineer. So all of that happened in a span of, let's say, 6 to 7 years. And I worked in the industry up until 2020 November. So it's been a long ride, but it's been very fruitful, and I would not change it for the world at all.
Right.
I find it interesting because I don't know if Renee knows this about you, but Paul's an AME as well.
Really?
And that's where he started out. So I'm listening to this, and when Paul and I first met, a lot of people think that we just jumped right into cars, and he was actually working on some aircrafts out of Dorval, Quebec.
Well, I was a hangar rat growing up. A lot of people don't realize I was one of those hangar rats that grew up. I was speaking with a guy just yesterday, actually, who said, "Paul, I had a chance to sit in one of the snowbirds one day," and I was going, that's kind of cool, but I actually grew up, my father had a shop in the hangar where they stored the snowbirds in Toronto. So for me, it was I could go in on any day and go sit in one of the snowbirds, go sit in a helicopter, go sit in, So
I wonder if it's common, I'm curious because I'm listening to the two of you, and one being in Canada and one being in Antigua, and I'm going, wait a minute. I bet you there's a lot more out there.
Oh, yeah.
For
sure. I mean, aviation's such a tight-knit industry, and as you know, it's hard, even with a specialty, it's hard to stick to your specialty, and I can imagine, especially in your geography. I mean, even in Canada, when you have a specialty in aviation, sometimes you get kind of pushed out because you don't have access to it in your local area. And,
right.
I think that's what kind of happened to me. I got kind of tired of being bounced around and contracted all over the place, and it was time to settle with family. So
well, I think that I gently begged for it, to be honest with you. I found, when we were, just starting our relationship, it was kind of easy, but, we adopted Leanne at the age of 13, and, we also then had Junior following that. So we needed the togetherness, and we're very European in our upbringing of our children. So right away it was a common decision, I think, in our relationship of just, saying, okay, wait a minute, what is more important? When we started working in the automotive industry, I think that's when we fell in love with the clients, to be honest with you. It was the stories. But, it's interesting because I'm listening to it all, and I'm thinking to myself, Paul, he was a male in a male dominant industry. So how was that for you, entering that industry being so male dominant?
I don't even know where to start because even let's say in even before we get to aviation, in the automotive industry, even from my church that we went to, they had women in the church asking my mother, like, you have one daughter, why do you want your daughter to be involved in cars? And my mom just said to them, listen, if that's what she wants to do, then I'm just gonna support her all the way. And I must give kudos to my parental unit, mom and dad, for ensuring that, no matter how far-fetched my goals were, they were always like in the back.
And you had those dreams and you followed them regardless.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Correct. Right, exactly. So in automotive, of course, when you tell persons what you do to them, you should always look dirty. But, I always have to look fly, always have
all the time.
So that by itself kind of changed persons' perception and even encouraged a lot more women to become involved in automotive engineering just by watching how I maneuvered through it for 2 years. And people are like, well, if she can do it, then that means, okay, well, yeah, let me do that, And then, of course, there are times when people, like men, will doubt you and second guess you and probably be like, oh, let me get someone else to do this, or let me get a guy to move that. And I'm like, bro, like I can lift like 120 pounds easily.
I've got that.
Yeah. So that's in automotive. With I'm going to speak about aviation and then motorsport, because all these different things, you kind of still felt that type of pushback from men, especially because of your physical appearance. So in aviation, I think I had more encouragement from guys in aviation, because in LIAT, which is where I worked, there were other women that were there before me. So and the dynamics was a little different because of how these ladies presented themselves. You know what I mean? So when I got into it, at first it was like, oh, you look so girly, but then after a while, and I kind of roughed them up a kind of how, they like her. So after a while, they would allow me to do just about anything and that type of stuff. So I think it was a lot more encouraging in the aviation industry, physically. However, when it was time to probably move up the ladder to engineer, I felt a lot of pushback, because at the same time I was doing motorsports. So I was working and still flying out to race, and they thought that I wasn't given enough time to LIAT. But then whenever I have to clock in, I clock in, do my work efficiently, and then clock out to fly out to go and race. So at that point I was like, so do you want women to advance in this all boys club going up? You understand what I'm saying? So I got that type of pushback, but that's fine. That's okay. Because I kind of shifted focus to motorsports, where at that time I was traveling between Antigua and Nevis, or Antigua and Grenada, to represent Antigua and Barbuda in drag racing. At that time, for the type of vehicle that I had, it wasn't very often you find women drive that type of vehicle. You get the JDMs, the Civics, and the Corollas, and the Turbo Starlets and stuff. And here I am with a 1986 RX-7 with a 302 in it. You know what I mean? So when people see that, they're like, you sure you know what you're about? And then but I tell them, especially with my background in automotive and aviation, they're like, okay, well, she makes sense. So the foundation itself proved my worth to persons, even with persons that have never met me before. Again, you see a girl walking with lipstick, makeup, eyelash, everything, looking good as, you know what I mean? And then, they start questioning until they get their facts right. So the dynamics were a little bit different in all of them, but I use those as stepping stones to, show them, look, don't judge a book by its cover,
Right.
Don't judge the internals of an engine just by how outside look. You know what I mean? So
very
You're
good
so
analogy.
inspiring. You need to know. You're very inspiring. It's so nice to have you on the show. I'm glad. I'm hoping that some young people see this, especially our females, and go, you know what? It's time I make that move. Well, thank you so much, Renee. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll have you right back.
CARS, Canadian Automotive Restoration Specialists.
Cars by Taylor is your car concierge in Eastern Ontario and Western Quebec. Are you buying, selling, or trading? Do you need maintenance services, modification, or restoration? Maybe you just need some consultation on a project or need a vehicle moved. We're here to provide services for your collector, classic, sports, or luxury vehicle. Check out our website at carspecialist.com or call us at 613-371-4440. At Cars by Taylor, we know we're not working on just any vehicle.
C-A-R-S, Canadian Automotive Restoration Specialist.
Welcome back, everybody. We are, of course, still with Renée Edwards-Ambrose from the island of Antigua. And thank you so much for joining us today. This is a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun today. Yeah. So I have a question for you, and I want to know is, being the ambassadorial figure for the teen girls, who want to enter the industry, what would you have to say to them? Like if there's somebody listening out there right now, and like we had said just before, they're on the verge of making that step forward.
And are afraid, I remember even me coming into the industry and I was petrified.
Anything that you touch, it's going to have friction. And with change as well, there's always going to be hardship. The best part about it is knowing exactly what it is you want and put yourself in positions and have a wonderful circle around you, or I call them my safety net, around you to ensure that they keep you on the right path to your goals, right? So getting into this industry, it was tough because, again, being in a very small community and persons already, it's already embroidered into persons' lifestyle that women are not supposed to do certain things. So once you already know what the problem is, you just have to adjust yourself to ensure that when you get to this hurdle, you can try your best to maneuver as best as possible and efficiently as possible to get to the next step. Most times you find persons, as soon as they hit the first wall, they're like, I can't do this anymore. I quit.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the more hardships you go through, it builds character for the next thing that's going to come through the door, So okay, you get over the hurdle that guys don't like to see women in the industry. Okay, you tailor your mind to suit the environment, and you keep it going. Okay, I find it hard to lift 50 pounds. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm just going to whimper and weem about and say, look, I can't do this. No, or are you going to go and try as much as possible to lift weights or train or exercise or put yourself in a position physically to be able to do this? You know what I mean? Or learn to use machines that will help you do it too. You know what I mean? In Antigua, we say head neck book, meaning that someone had to write to make things easier for us now, So at the end of the day, use your head, use machinery if it's there to assist you in whatever you have to do. So at the end of the day, just be mentally prepared for the friction. And anytime you change or you shift directions in your life, be prepared for the friction. Whenever you get to that hard part or that hard decision that you're going to have to make, think about it, have your safety net, mentally prepare yourself, and just, mash gas, no brakes, We've
yes. Always said in the ups and downs in the automotive industry, if you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror, you're not going forward.
You're not moving. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
exactly.
It's...
you can't win a race looking in the rearview, right?
Right. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt. So speaking of which, there's something I'm really interested in knowing, and I like to ask professional drivers this. So what's your driving style on the street? And is it affected? I'm not going to ask you about your tickets.
Yeah, let's...
Yeah, actually the fifth.
But yeah, what's your driving style on the street? Is it affected by your experience of drag racing? Is it,
That's a good question. Yeah.
That's a very good question. And let me tell you this. In Antigua, we don't have, sad to say, as soon as you drive for, let's say, 1/8 of a mile, there is either a hole in the road or, the person's parked on the road that kind of restricts the traffic, because we're a small island and persons don't have places to park their cars in the yard. So sometimes they park on the street. And I think being a drag racer makes me more aware of what happens on the road and try to be as safe as possible on the road too. A lot of the times you find people jump into a car and they think they can drive, but then when it's time for you to stop, listen, the safety is in the stopping, because it's all well and good that you can go 100 miles per hour. Right. But then what are you going to do when it's time for you to come to a complete stop, especially in a very short space of time? So I think that I have been as safe as I possibly can. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you got to put the pedal to the metal.
You just
when you have guys on the road see you and they'll be like, vroom, vroom. I was like, okay, let's do this, It is what it is. I mean,
I'm curious. So what is a ticket in Antigua? I mean, I'm sure our viewers don't know that, know? So what happens when you get pulled over in Antigua?
Oh, well, sometimes, depending on the crime, if you're speeding, of course, your vehicle is going to get confiscated. And right. And of course, you're hit with a fine. If you're charged with dangerous driving and something happens, then of course you're going to go to jail. Get your car confiscated as well, and you get slapped with a huge fine. So again, we don't
demerit points.
No, we don't.
Oh, okay.
We don't.
So we in Canada, we have demerit points, and it's almost like a babysitting system, if you will.
Right.
So it's curious. I was so curious. Sorry to.
And I'm guessing there's no running from the police on the island. If you've
right. Well, and again, we really don't have that much police officers like that. We have other things to worry about. But then, for the few times that accidents actually do happen or persons are caught speeding, the police clamp hard on them because it's not something that frequently happens. So
good to know.
Well, that kind of leads me into the next, talking about running from the police, because my next question had to do with kind of cruising. Us sort of the classic car industry or just the car automotive world, every now and then we like to go for a cruise in our vehicles. Those of us that are in love with them, we just love our vehicles, and hearing that hum is perfectly good. And here when we plan a cruise, we could be planning a cruise for 50 miles, 100 miles. We could plan a 3-day cruise if we want to go from coast to coast, right? So what's it look like when you're planning a cruise on the island? How long of a cruise can you plan? How far might you be able to travel?
Okay, so I've been involved in planning a couple of cruises here in Antigua and Barbuda, and even be a part of some of them. And from coast to coast, it's probably 45 minutes drive.
Okay.
Interesting. But when we do cruises, we actually do we actually go all the way around the island, which and then make a couple of stops so that persons can take videos, take pictures, and that would probably start 10 in the morning. And then we meet at this central location where we probably have a car show kind of party vibe, and that would finish around 7 o'clock. So it all depends on how. Right. So it all depends on the route. It all depends on how many persons are there, because again, we don't have that much bigger roads. We don't have highways per se. So if you have, let's say, 250 cars on the road, if you're behind this convoy of cars and you're trying to get to babysitter, that you're going to have to call the babysitter and be like, sis, bro, you're gonna have to keep
out on the island, and they're all doing a cruise thanks to Renée Edwards-Ambrose. So
one side, it's crazy. So from coast to coast for sure, from the furthest point north to the furthest point south, and same thing east to west, it's give or take 45 minutes just to drive from point A to point B. However, when it comes to a cruise, you can have a whole day cruise depending on what activities we have in between there.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So are the car shows, even happening since COVID, or if they're not happening, is there hopes that they're coming back this coming summer?
It's funny that you asked that, because I am actually in the process of assisting the Lions Club and Leo Club of Antigua with planning a car show as a fundraiser in September. And then on top of that, we have, of course, every year we have Carnival, which is our festival, our summer festival. And one of the things that I think the Ministry of Culture wants to add to the calendar of events is an actual car show as well. So we're looking to see if we can get that done the end of July, beginning of August, kind of around there. Outside of that, what we are trying to basically get back on stream is the the drag racing scene because that was kind of, cut short because of COVID. Yeah. So we couldn't have a lot of persons there. We tried to do it virtually, and people like the smell of burnt rubber and C16 and these.
Right.
So, we're slowly but surely getting that back up and running. Actually, the Drag Racing Association here, they just recently started Tension Tuesdays. That way we try to keep persons from actually racing on the streets and come to the track to actually, cut the beam onto the street. Because if anything happens at the track, we have the ambulance, we have EMS, we have everybody there. Now, if you do that on street racing at 2:00 in the morning, going to the police station, so
there's a way to do it safely. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what we're encouraging right now. That's what's happening. But for next year, I hear talks about having like a car show festival weekend. So let's see how that goes, because I already told the organizer I want to be a part of that. So
well, definitely, if that does happen, I think that we will definitely call you back, because we are going to want to see what it is over there.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be
honestly,
at the end of the day, we don't get to see very many vehicles. I'd love to see the drag races over there. I think I've told you that for years. So definitely.
We can trip down and listen, next year we'll look at the calendar of events, and then I'll let you know when it would be time for you guys to come.
I have a friend. Yes. I have a friend that just invited me. So I want to actually tell the viewers about Lady Horsepower Farm.
Okay.
I know that, over the years, I've followed you quite loyally. And to those that don't know, I'd really love you to inform them.
Okay. All right. So Lady Horsepower Farm is my all-female drag racing team that I founded in 2014. Oh my gosh, that's a while ago.
No, I was waiting. I was like, okay, this is her baby.
You do things in life, and then when you pause and then look back, you're like, wait, what?
What did I do?
Exactly. So through this drag racing team, it's all female. So my mechanic was female, marketing personnel female, everyone on the exec female. So how Lady Horsepower Farm came about was that I met some guys from throughout the Caribbean that they're part of a team called Horsepower Farm. So it's a bunch of guys that have a bunch of cars in a bunch of islands, Nevis, Grenada, Trinidad, but they're still working together to ensure that this team, makes sense, and represent. So when I met one of the guys that basically run the team, Mervyn Bonnet, I said, what would be really cool if we can have a female arm of Lady Horsepower Farm. That is how, that so everything else is history.
Girl, I love you. You're like knocking at all the doors. You're making sure if they're open, you're walking right in.
Well, you're kicking them open.
No, you're with grace, right? With grace.
No, thank you. And the wonderful thing about it that I'm really proud of is that we don't just race just for racing's sake, because a lot of press would ask, so do you win? Do you come first? I'm like, yeah, out of the 13 events that I've done, I've podiumed 9 times. And I think the ratio for lose to win kind of makes sense. The math is mathing, you know what I mean? So, and I've already, I'm the fastest woman to race in Nevis, the fastest woman to race in Grenada. I got best female racer in Trinidad and Tobago, and I was able to bring my car back to Antigua to actually take part in a charity event, Race Against Cancer. So these different things that I've done before, that we've done as a team together, through the help of a couple of persons that believed in the vision. I am so happy that at least not only people talk about the fact that, hey, she could race, but the fact that people would say, listen, my daughter saw you and she speaks about you highly, and she thinks that what you're doing is amazing, and she wants to become a drag racer. Like right now, you have kids dressing up for career day in drag racing suits. I'm like,
That's cool. That's what I was saying before. It's so inspiring.
It really is.
Very, very cool.
It really is. And from that, I'm assuming then LadyMex came about.
Yeah. You're a smart girl, Nicole.
I follow you, hon. I follow you. I've got a fan base, but I've been trying to show a lot of the females in the industry, and including even our daughter. She briefly wanted to join the automotive industry, and you know, we sat down with her and I put up some of your videos because you know what, it's very rare. I find that a lot of women in the industry are almost sexualized, if you will. And to have a very strong, influential woman to be inspired by and follow, I mean, it's a mother's dream. So, you know, when you have a teenager and they're doubting but curious about the industry, you know, she sees mom, and most times I'm you know, simply but a pretty face in the automotive industry. And right away I said, you know what, there's more. There's more out there, and there's more possibilities, and so it was nice as a mom to be able to say, listen, I have a few females in the industry, but the one I want you to follow more than anything is Renée, and she's got exactly what it takes. So, you know, from one mother in this world that you know has been following you, thank you so much. It truly means a lot.
I believe in being the change that I would like to see in this world. And I never had a me growing up. So I had to ensure that when I laid the foundation, not that I necessarily went like, my goal is to lay the foundation. I'm like, listen, whenever I have a kid, you know, I want to be able to, for them to be like, hey, if mom could do this, then hey, I can do it too, you know, and even if they reach out to me and ask me, you know, how can I maneuver? I can say, listen, this is my equation. I'm not saying that you can use this equation in your life, but you can learn something from this equation, you know? So even with LadyMex, like when we started LadyMex, we realized that there are just a lot of women and men that don't know a lot of things about their cars. So using it as an educational tool just for them to, you know, have longevity of their cars, and at the end of the day make them safe on the roads, because again, if you don't take care of your car, do your periodic checks on your car, guess what, you're going to break down, and the money that you would normally spend on shoes, clothes, hair, nails, all of these cute things, you're dumping it into an investment that you already spent an arm, a liver, you know, for. So when you invest in something, you want to be at least educated on how to do the bare minimum to ensure that you have it for a long time. So that is basically how LadyMex was born in 2016, you know, and it started out just you know, going to churches, nonprofit organizations, kids between 9 and 13, girl groups between, and then I said, listen, sis, you can make a little something off of this. And I said, you know what, let me make it more marketable. Let me make it be something that persons actually look forward to. So then it went from just being, you know, 2 hours at a church in a churchyard to now partnering with companies in Antigua and Barbuda to
I'm so proud of you.
do it. And listen,
Proud to know you. Yeah. This is so cool. You're
your mentor. Yeah.
You know what it is? It's you're above that. I truly believe you're an earth angel at this point, because you know it's very rare. But you know, Renée, you're amazing. You truly are.
You.
We're going to take one more quick break, and we're going to be right back with Renée. We'll see you in a few, Renée.
A message to owners of classic and antique cars, trucks, and motorcycles. Your Canadian source for new quality tires is Selmar Autoville in Eastern Ontario. They are the authorized Canadian agent for Universal Vintage Tires and Finland's Kontio Tires White Paw Classics. We can get what you need for your precious vehicle, dating back to the early 1900s up to the muscle car era. Check out our website at www.selmar.ca or call Fern at 613-632-6363 for a quote. Don't leave your vehicle in the garage because you need new tires. Drive your past in the present with Selmar Autoville.
Welcome back, Renée. Thanks for joining us again. So I have a silly question, something I don't know, something I need to know. Electric cars are starting to bother me a little bit. Are you seeing them on the island?
Well, there are a handful of them here, like probably 10 or so. just the other day, I was invited to a summit where they were speaking about, getting rid of the ICE cars and getting electrical cars in islands. And I'm like, first of all, they're not economically feasible. So these people here that don't make that much money would not be able to get rid of the ICE cars. Right. So yeah, the upper class, yes, if you want to bring those in, sis, I will fix those for you. But you have to take into consideration that a lot of our population cannot afford them. But yes, there are a couple of them here. And I think that probably, in the next 15 to 20 years, then you would see a lot more trickling into Antigua and Barbuda. But for now, I think that because of the economy, we're still in the ice age.
Well, over the last 2 years, we've noticed that we've been approached numerous times to have classic cars converted to electric. And it's something that we started entertaining. To be honest with you, I've got my doubts. Paul has his doubts. It's not something that we really want to put associated with our name at this point in time. But you know what? We're curious.
I'm accepting them slowly. I think what's going to happen is the first time somebody knocks on our door and says, "Can you restore my electric car?" I'm going to go, "I'm out. I retire. I'm done." So you know what?
I think that for me, where I would start would be like probably the electric golf carts. So that would be a great way for my team to actually wean our way into that, because it's just charge and go, making sure the ignition still swings, all the ball joints are good, all of that is good. So that would be the first step into electrical vehicles and maintenance. But then for where we are right now technologically, I don't see us going Tesla like for the next probably 12 years or so, 15.
I don't even think us in Canada are really even there
ready for that.
You see them, it's hit and miss, and again in the industry, you see a lot of the people that are a little bit better off that have them. But I'll be honest, we have quite a few collectors in our circle, our immediate circle, and there doesn't seem to be any interest for them. And to be honest with you, I kind of follow my collectors, and I follow the market, and it's not now. It's not now for us anyway. We'll see. Maybe when we come down, we'll be able to see,
right,
a little bit more and understand it. So I think the more important, topic that I've been dying to ask you all morning.
Got to cover it.
I want to know about your initiative with the young leaders of the Americas Initiative. I saw that. I know a little bit about it because, I was curious and I wanted to read into it. But if you can please tell our viewers more about it and myself as well.
Sure, no problem. So the Young Leaders of America Initiative, which from here on out, I'll say YLI initiative, is an initiative sponsored by the U.S. State Department for entrepreneurs between the ages of 25 and 35 in Latin America, the Caribbean, and Canada, for persons that wanna their business to grow. So right now it's like an incubator for entrepreneurs to learn more about how to make their business more sustainable. If there's a challenge that you have, how can we work with you to overcome these challenges or learn more about these challenges? So what I've done when I signed up for YLI, I utilized, of course, LadyMex as the initiative under my name. And my biggest challenge is finance. So this was launched, we started our onboarding in January. So right now we're virtually going through classes and sessions. I never thought I'll be going back to school now. Like, I thought I was doing all that I was doing. But of course, as time progresses, you have to learn some more. And of course, this is going to help me along the way, especially knowing that I want to build my own mechanic shop on the LadyMex. So right now we're doing a lot of leadership programs. How do we hire persons? How do you find the right fit for your business? How you speak to investors? These are the things that are being taught between now and July. And the awesome part about this initiative is that we will be able to work in the US. Well, not really work. It's like an exchange program in the US for 4 weeks, where we will be understudying different businesses or corporations that we're paired with, just to learn about how their organization works or their company.
What an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. When I got at first, my friend, thank you. At first, my friend said, Renée, I think you should do this. I was like,
I'm doing so much.
I'm doing so much. There's a lot on my plate, And I just, all right, let me just sign up. And my first interview, because we have to do interviews before we actually make the final cut. So out of around 1,800 persons that applied, I was one of the 230 that were chosen at the end of it, So during the interview, before I went in, a friend of mine that has been a fellow for years, he said, Renée, just be yourself. I know you will blow them away with your personality. I said, but it's a profession. He's like, listen, be you, be the you that I know you. Okay. I went in, of course, head wrap, cute, eyelashes, everything. I just blew them away to the point where one of the ladies in Barbados, because I had the interview with the U.S. Embassy in Barbados, and they're like, so do you want to come to Barbados so we can teach girls down here how to fix cars? I was like,
oh, Renée.
Wow.
Girl, oh, man, I just got goosebumps.
That's one of the.
You deserve every single moment of this.
Oh,
every single moment. You enjoy every single moment of it. The women of tomorrow are so lucky. They have no idea, truly and honestly.
Yeah, I think you're going to see continued success through this, and you're going to bring success to others. So God bless you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And more importantly, the backbone. Just even meeting you the first time, and I think I'll say this quickly and share this quickly. So when Renée came down to Canada, she didn't even know she was meeting us. We didn't know we were meeting her.
Oh, you were cold. It was wintertime, right? You were coming in that
door,
and you're
so
going, what is this?
You're like, what is this? Is this snow? Yeah, we're in Canada and we never get rid of it. But, I thought to myself when I met you, I fell in love with you the first minute that you started speaking and giving me some insight. But when you left, you gave me that backbone. And I'm not going to lie, because, you coming to Canada was not a fun experience altogether. But we made the best of it. I think we made the best of it. And,
certainly did.
In that negative situation, we made a friend. And, like I said, when you left, it was us starting our company. And it was not a very easy journey. But when you left, I thought, if she can do it, I can do it. And I kicked butt for years, girl. So here I am, still kicking it.
Good job. You and Paul, when I came to Canada and I met you again, it was a negative situation, but that breath of fresh air. I mean, first up, I never went that drive that north from Toronto as coming to see you guys. I mean, I've flown to North Bay and back from Oshawa, but to drive, I was like, are we there yet? And then I meet you guys, and you guys were like the cup of coffee in a cold weather. Like it was so refreshing meeting you, meeting Paul Jr.
Oh, he's in love with you. He's still in love with you.
And listen, and even just being in your shop and seeing all of these things that you guys have done and meeting everyone in your group. I mean, I was like, this is so nice. I want to do this in Antigua. And
just for the record, the race car that we had in our shop was not to Renée's standards. And we'll leave it at that. We had a lot of work to do, but we got some help and some guidance while you were here. So that too, thank you. That was so awesome.
No problem.
So you know what, I think you have what we call the full throttle questions.
I have Nicole's full throttle questions.
You've got Nicole's full throttle. Are you ready for this?
I am ready.
It's time for Nicole's Full Throttle.
So here is Nicole's Full Throttle questions, and I'm going to shoot them off. So what is your favorite thing to do when you're not working?
I build shelves. So I built this, and I built this shelf right here. So I built shelves. Hey. Movables. Yep.
You're so awesome. And what talent would you have that most people don't know about you?
I sing.
Really? See?
Yes, I do.
And I'm your
Yeah.
friend. I didn't even know.
Interesting.
There we go.
There you go. Now, if you could move anywhere in the world, where would that be?
Canada.
I'm going to get my girl in an igloo real fast. Watch. So what is your favorite food while at car shows? So that way if somebody all of a sudden sees you at a car show, they can bring you your favorite food. What is that?
Hot dog and fries with everything.
Yeah, that's so me. And what would you do to treat yourself?
Oh, I love doing my nails and I love doing my hair when I do have hair. But right now I'm kind of bald, so but I like doing my nails.
And what is your favorite color?
To be honest, my favorite color is blue, but my power color is pink.
Oh, yeah, mine's
Interesting.
pink too with the pink motorcycle. Do you
really
remember
is.
my pink motorcycle?
I do, I remember.
Yeah, I gotta take it out this year. Last year didn't get out. So what is your most preferred, is it city or country living?
Country living.
Oh, I love you. I'm going to bring
Yeah.
you out to Canada and we're going to go onto the farm.
I'll hold you to that for sure.
Well, Renee, you know what? I really have to tell you. You know, I know I've said it a few times today, but there's so many of us in the industry that continue through the industry with success, but they fail to inspire others to do the same. And that's definitely not your character. You are truly inspirational, and I'm honored to call you a friend and have you on the show. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's truly been our honor.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's actually an honor being on your podcast too. I mean, I was looking forward to this, even though, you know, at the beginning we were like, the timing, but we got it together and I had so much fun, guys. Thank you.
This is a blast.
So now where can people follow you or where can they find you?
Okay, so you can follow my website at inreallife.com. That's INREALYFE, inreallife.com. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok with the same handles. So once you go to the website, it will direct you there. For Lady Horsepower Farm, you can look for Lady Horsepower Farm on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, we have a page for LadyMex as well. You just type in LadyMex Workshop and it will pop right up. So I'm easily accessible on the internet.
You can also Google Renee. She's that well known.
Well, we're going to make
Just so
sure
you
we
know.
drop some links. So have a look down there somewhere, and we're going to put a couple links in so that you can find Renee real easily.
Renee, I cannot wait to see you again. So whether
Yeah, me
we
too.
are coming down or you are moving to Canada, apparently, not before your initiatives are over because they're very, very important. But, you know, I'm anxious to hear what's next for you. Definitely.
That's a different conversation altogether, sis. But we will have that
We
conversation.
will definitely have part 2 with Renee. That's
Yes, for sure.
definite. Well, thanks again, Renee. We love you so very much.
I love you too.
We hope you stay warm, and we can't wait to talk to you and hear about the car shows coming forward in the summer.
Sure.
Thank
No
you
problem.
so much, Renee.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
No problem.
Bye.
That was an amazing interview with Renee. I'm so
was
glad
fun.
that she decided to come on and be one of our guests. Thank you so much, Renee. This was just amazing. You know, the information that we got from her.
She's so inspirational too.
I
Most
can't
definitely.
wait to be able to go visit and bring more info to you. But I promise you all, there will be a part 2 with Renee.
There's definitely more to come. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Collector Car Drive-Thru Podcast. Thank you to Renee for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to join us on Patreon. We'll see you there.
Bye, guys.